Happy New Year!
Hello and welcome to the first Art and Soul show of 2020. In this month's show we have our usual mix of music, poetry, interviews, joke of the month and foodie tip of the month.
Now, we know Christmas and the New Year's a difficult time for many people. We thought of introducing the show with a bit of uplifting music, and this is Marvin Smith, Let the Good Times Roll.
I'll tell you exactly what I'm gonna do. Get in the groove and let the good times roll. I'm gonna stay till I soothe my soul. If it take all night long, everybody let the good times save yourself. Oh, if it take all night long, look here, baby, this might be one and it might be three. Time don't mean that much to me. I ain't felt this good since I don't know when, and I might not feel this good again. So come on, everybody. Oh, if it take all night long, all night, and all night, all night. Somebody said it might take all night long and all night, all night. So come on, the good times roll. We're gonna stay here till we soothe our souls. If it take all night long, go on, go on, go on. Say it, baby. Oh, if it take all night long, everybody, come on, come on, come on.
Andrew's foodie tip of the month.
Hello, this is Andrew's Food Tips of the Month, and today I'm going to speak about a place in Foundry Road called Abby's Indian Experience. So it's a very nice place, it's very averagely priced. They do many curries there of your choice, open late, not too busy, it's quite quiet at their times, depends when you're going of course as well. Decorated quite well too, it's all blue inside, nice colour. In Foundry Road again, by the way, and it's very comfortable, and it's nice food, good food. And also, my favourite meal has got to be probably either a chicken tikka boona or a chicken tikka balti. Thank you.
So here is a song called Toxicity that I really liked from my childhood. It's by a band called System of a Down.
software version 7.0. Looking at life through the eyes of a tire hub. pastime activity. The toxicity of our city. Yo! What do you own the world? How do you own disorder? No! Somewhere between the sacred silence and sleep. Somewhere between the sacred silence and sleep. Disorder. More wood for their fires, loud neighbors, flashlight reveries caught in the headlights of a truck, eating seeds as a pastime activity. The toxicity of our city. No! What do you own the world? How do you own disorder? No! Somewhere between the sacred silence and sleep. Somewhere between the sacred silence and sleep. Disorder.
This is a poem called Get Out of Your Own Way, Girl. All this time I've wasted, all the failure and the tears, 'cause I'm cowed behind lost confidence and I'm frightened of the fear. I strive to find some purpose and I want to be of use, but my panic seems to stop me dead. It's a very real excuse. I'm terrified to move and I'm scared down to my core. The voice inside my head says, you can't do this anymore. Why do you always do this? Why destroy you from within? The habits that you formed become a protective second skin. Don't fall back on the negatives. Don't focus on the trouble. You can live a more fulfilling life, but you must pop your own bubble. When the world is out to get you, don't fuel flames from within. Make a plan of what you need to do and step out from the wings. Get out of your own way, girl. Here's a new battle cry. Stop sapping your own power. Your energy is running dry. Get out of your reflection. Take a step into the light. You don't need that self-protection. You don't need to always fight. Get out of your own way, girl. Don't wait for the sky to fall. Stop the shallow breathing. Say hello to your new world. The world, it is your oyster. To the earth you are a pearl. Just step into your future. Go on and take the world. Get out of your own way, girl. Relax and breathe right in. Don't let nerves overwhelm you. Let the overture begin. Get out of your own way, girl. You've a life's purpose to fulfill. Get out of your own way, girl. Decide to, and you will.
This is a track by Kate Rusby called Underneath the Stars.
Underneath the stars I'll meet you. Underneath the stars I'll greet you. And there beneath the stars I'll leave you. Before you go of your own
Hi, and welcome to the Studio 13. Again, we have an interesting discussion today for the show. We have Abby, a psychologist from the early intervention team, and myself and Sue are just going to have a chat about SAD, seasonal affective disorder, which is something that seems to affect a lot of people. It certainly has an impact on myself. Abby, in terms of SAD, tell us a little bit more about SAD and what SAD means. Sorry, did I...
Sorry, no, it's fine.
Sorry,
Can I just,
everyone, welcome to Abby.
Yeah. Okay. So hello everyone. So seasonal affective disorder is a depressive disorder. It kind of has similar symptoms to other depressive disorders. So people feel persistent low mood. They might feel like a loss of pleasure or interest in normal everyday activities, feeling irritable, feelings of despair, guilt, worthlessness, feeling quite sleepy, and feeling tired and low in energy is kind of something that's really prominent in seasonal affective disorder. So people find themselves wanting to sleep for long periods of time. And we can talk a little bit later about why that might be. Also, something that might be slightly different to other depressive disorders, which sets it aside, is that people find themselves craving carbohydrates, so craving food, whereas sometimes with other depressive disorders people find themselves maybe not having as much of an appetite. And of course, as the title suggests, this tends to happen around September, October time in the Northern Hemisphere. There is some evidence to suggest that it does also affect people in the Southern Hemisphere, but maybe not as many.
Is it directly related to the light? Is it the short days, the dark mornings, the dark evenings? I think that's something that impacts on myself. It takes a lot of my motivation away sometimes. You look at the darkness outside first thing in the morning, you think, it really is a bit more of a struggle than a bright summer's day.
Hard work,
Yeah. It may be. That's why the research is interesting, that it also happens with people in the Southern Hemisphere where there are not such extremes in kind of the light, but it definitely happens around winter time. Certainly people who experience seasonal affective disorder do report finding that their symptoms are less if they spend more time getting sunlight at that period of time in the year. I guess what is interesting to think about what we might do when the days draw shorter. So how that affects the rest of our lives and what we do.
Yes, I mean, that's something that I think we're both interested in really is sort of techniques that we can use or tools that we can use to help ourselves initially, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are things that we can do to help ourselves to stay mentally well then, as it comes into the longer nights, etc., and the colder days?
In terms of kind of what you were talking about, Chris, is about that there is limited daylight. Making time in your day to perhaps go for that walk at lunch and spending some time outside, although you may not it might not feel intuitive to go for a walk in the cold.
No.
Getting that kind of half hour of sunlight is, may be really beneficial.
Yes.
And also to continue to exercise.
Right.
Perhaps when it gets a bit colder, we may not kind of walk as much. We may kind of spend more time, I guess, indoors, not moving around as much.
Tend to hibernate, don't we?
We want to be cosy in front of the fire, don't we, when it comes to the winter?
Yeah, and hibernating, that's the word. So some people describe that exact kind of experience of feeling that they want to be cosy and warm and sleep and store energy and, eat, but actually keeping active is how our bodies maintain energy, and the less we do, the less energy we actually have.
Right. And eating properly, I suppose, as well, is something that's a good diet.
I would definitely say that I have a dog, so having to take the dog out a couple of times in the day, I do actually feel that that's very good for me, especially in the winter, getting that little bit of sunlight, especially on a day like today, which is lovely and clear and bright. I would definitely echo that that's a good thing. Yeah. I had a question.
Yeah.
Are people who already have depression more susceptible to SAD?
I think that's a really interesting question. Don't know the answer to completely. I guess one thing that is interesting about about that question is that depression for many people is a recurring problem. It's something that people have kind of periods of time when they do feel more low and time when they're not.
Yeah.
And I guess with depression, we know that there are certain triggers that may make it more likely for us to fall into a depressive episode. And that kind of fits with what we're talking about with kind of maybe reducing our activity, sleeping more. Often people sleep more when they feel when at the beginning of a depressive
And just waking up
episode.
to a greyer day
I know.
it doesn't help, does it?
And reminding yourself, I guess one thing we could do is to always remind ourselves that the days will get longer, that this is a period that we need to kind of adjust to, that it's not forever.
It's something I always think of is December the 22nd being the shortest day. From that point onwards,
turning point.
It really is.
If things got really difficult, would it be appropriate to see your GP, perhaps just get a bit of help from services?
Absolutely. So in terms of treatment options for seasonal affective disorder, there are a few. There's been quite a few different reviews, so that's when larger organisations have kind of taken a broad look of all of the different types of research studies that have been done on different treatments for SAD. And the main thing that's come out at the moment is that the same treatments that you would use for a depressive disorder without the seasonal part would be helpful. So that might be thinking about psychological therapy. Some people find light therapy helpful, but the evidence is unequivocal, as it were. The studies are not quite there to know whether it works or not. So it's not that it doesn't work, it's just that we don't know whether it works. And certainly some people report it is helpful, and so your GP or healthcare professional that you see will be able to advise you on these different options. Some people have tried. Another interesting thing with seasonal affective disorders is the idea that perhaps people who experience have more of the hormone that makes you feel sleepy. And there have been trials on that, but actually they found that was not necessarily more effective than these other options.
Yeah, so there's quite a lot online, isn't there, in terms of support and advice in relation to this. It's because it is such a common thing, isn't it, to that people experience this time of the year. There's a lot out there, isn't there?
And I think most people can kind of relate to that feeling of kind of winter kind of coming and feeling, kind of perhaps not as energetic and bright and wanting to go out as much. And
that certainly summarises things quite well, I think. Thanks for that. So thanks for coming along today. I don't think there's anything. Is there anything else you wanted to mention,
No,
Sue?
I think
we've covered things quite well, haven't we?
Thanks very much for having me.
Well, no, it's great to come for you to come along to the studio and to meet up. Is there any particular music you'd like to ask for a request, as it were, in relation to your visit today?
Well, I do have a song that I'd really like to hear. It is one of my favourite songs, and it always actually, on a bit of a grey day, I do like putting it on. It makes me feel like I can move around a bit. So it's Womack and Womack, and it's called Teardrops.
Teardrops.
Lovely.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Next time
And now we have a poem by Matty Blades called Have You Ever?
Have you ever slept in a doorway? A blanket pulled over your head? No sleep, dreaming of a home? A cardboard box for your bed? Have you ever slept in a bin shed? To cover yourself from the snow? A concrete floor to sleep on? Having nowhere else to go? Have you ever slept in a park hedge? With nothing but a bottle of Jack? Not knowing which way's forward? And too scared to turn your back? Have you ever had to walk all night? To stop yourself freezing to death? A fantasy world up inside your head and dreaming of better days? Have you ever had to get so wrecked? To stop yourself feeling the cold? Not knowing if you're going to wake up? Or get out of this before you're old? Have you ever had to feed out of a skip? Too proud to ask for help? Struggling every day with physical or mental health? This life, it starts to drain your soul just trying to hang on. But there is no way to escape this hole when everything's gone wrong. It's like the pain of a million souls trapped inside my head, screaming out, set me free, or please give me a bed.
The next track is by a band called Tankus the Hen and is called Smiling Makes the Day Go Quicker.
Broken down country girl found some metal at the end of her road. Road leading nowhere before, now she's got the whole world outside her door. This isn't the way it used to be, I want my kite back in my hand. It's moving too fast for me, it's one way only, no show tonight. Smiling makes the day go quicker, life begins to turn around. Upside down comes round again, here's that crazy chaos you call home. Old people missing their train, lovers left standing out in the rain. See the girl reduced to tears, she's had to start all over again. This isn't the way it used to be, I want my kite back in my hands. It's moving too fast for me, it's one way only, no show tonight. Smiling makes the day go quicker, life begins to turn around. Upside down comes round again, here's that crazy chaos you call. Smiling makes the day go quicker, life begins to turn around. Upside down comes round again, here's that crazy chaos. Smiling makes the day go quicker, life begins to turn around. Upside down comes round again, here's that crazy chaos you call. Smiling makes the day go quicker, life begins to turn around. Upside down comes round again, here's that crazy chaos you call home. Smiling makes the day go quicker.
This is a cover of the Lennon-McCartney classic, Let It Be, which was recorded here at Basement 13, Ipsum, last November by Sue Hammond.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Shines on me, shine on till tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be.
One of the highlights of my childhood, Judith Durham singing with the Seekers. This track is called There Is a New World Somewhere.
There's a new world somewhere they call the promised land. And I'll be there someday if you will hold my hand. I still need you there beside me.
Do you know what? I am so glad to be back. You seem to have lost me for a couple of months, and so here I am with Brian's Adventures in Faraway Lands.
Hi, Brian. Welcome back. Fun's not what you expect to happen in war zones, but you're going to tell us of some occasions that were amusing, aren't you?
Yeah, because Kabul was the first one I thought of.
Oh, is that where you went first?
Yeah, that was one of my many places, but Kabul, I was thinking, it's a nice little story. It's in Afghanistan, by the way.
Right.
And what happened, I was upstairs in my bedroom, fast asleep. And then I woke up and thought, what the hell's going on? My bed was moving all around the room, as though someone had got hold of it and was pushing it.
Wow.
I was thinking, what's this? And then I thought, earthquake time. That's what it is. It's an earthquake. I got out of bed, headed out onto the balcony and looked around, but nothing was falling apart. So I thought, OK, it's only a tremor, go back to bed. So into bed and, fine.
Really? I'm surprised you thought the earth tremors were amusing. So let's move on to you were there in Libya during the Civil War. I hear you were trapped in the embassy with gun battles going on around you, weren't you?
Yeah, it began with an L. It's called Liberia, which is in Africa. The same as Libya is actually in Africa. Yeah, gun battles. Well, Civil War, we were surrounded by the rebels, and so we went to the embassy to get some protection. And we were in the embassy for a few days waiting for rescue. And there we were, guns going off all around us, people just shooting at us and around us. And it was very noisy. And then the mobile phone rang. And it was my mother.
Oh, wow.
And she said, hey, there's a war where you are. And I said, no, there's no war here. Yes, there is. The BBC said there's a war. I said, oh, that's in South Monrovia. We're in the north of Monrovia. You can't hear any shooting, can you? I sort of, no. They were very quiet at that time. And so she hung up and then the firing started again. So when I got home...
Oh, I bet you got an ear bashing and a half, didn't you?
You're not kidding. She was not amused about the fact I'd told Porky Pies. No.
So you were still there after the Civil War, weren't you? And you were closely involved with the child soldiers. What on earth were you doing, buying grenades on the back streets of Monrovia?
Oh, that was not the sort of thing an aid worker would do normally. But, see, I got to know the child soldiers very well and the ex-combatants. And they'd handed their weapons in, like good boys. Then the government decided with the UN to hold this scheme where if you handed your weapons in, you got $100 and you got certificates to go and do vocational courses. Wow. They got no weapons to hand in. So we were talking about it, and one of them said, well, we could buy some AK-47s and that would get us in. And I said, yeah, OK. And then another one said, no. Buy grenades, that'll get you to the front of the queue. So off we went into the back streets of Monrovia, down these strange alleyways, and came across this young man who handed me 2 grenades for $100.
Wow.
And so I took these grenades back to the house and handed them over to the child soldiers, and they went and got their certificates. And one of them, Jerry, he did his course in carpentry and he's now working as a carpenter.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, thank you very much for sharing that with us this month. And hope to hear from you in the future.
Yes, I'm back.
Hello there. Yeah, I've got an album made by Athlete. My favourite song out of that album is called Tourist, and it's very good and it's very loving and it's very rock and roll-ish. Thank you.
This European air, it always warms my face. I wish I could buy some. I will bring you stories and blurry-eyed photos like a regular tourist. We don't go breaking down. I feel like nothing ever will. We don't go breaking down. I feel like nothing.
5 days inside New York to lose myself with friends. I'm nowhere without you. We don't go breaking down. I feel like nothing ever will. We don't go breaking down. I feel like nothing ever will. We will never go breaking down. I feel like nothing. Just wanna be with you, my baby. 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 I'm counting up the cost of time, and will I embrace our time away? We cannot save ourselves alone, or rely on a mobile phone. Just wanna be with you, my baby. 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 Just wanna be with you.
Ipsum care, while you listen to this, your ears can't look elsewhere.
Joke of the month.
When I left school, my first job was in the circus. I went in as a human cannonball. Things didn't go well. After the first week, I was fired.
Oh, no.
I was very disappointed. I asked them why. Why have you fired me? They said, well, you just weren't the right calibre.
Wap, wap, wow.
I had the last laugh, though. I had them for funfair dismissal.
Oh no.
Somebody asked me, what was the money like? So I got a wage plus mileage.
Oh, no.
I met my first proper girlfriend in the circus. She was lovely. I fell for a net.
Hi, I'm Nathan. This is a piece called Prelude No. 1 by Villa-Lobos. This is the piece that I won Swindon Young Musician of the Year 2010 with.
This is a track by John Joe, and it's called Journey for Its Own Sake.
The road runs on forever, through cities, towns and hill. We don't know where we're going, but get there, hope we will. The wheels they keep on rolling, some scenes they pass us by. A journey for its own sake, each mile by mile by mile. Some people travel with us, the whole journey they do stay. Others for a little while, before they find their way. A journey for its own sake, a pleasure in itself, the fundamental reason to be just one's own self.
That was a track by John Joe called Journey for Its Own Sake. And now, Fleetwood Mac, Oh Well.
Again, this piece is titled Wicker Not Wood, and it's the final piece in my first poetry collection titled Not Under My Breath, which is available from www.bitepress.co.uk. Buy yourself a copy to cheer yourselves up in January. Wicker not wood. Just to make things clear, just so you're hearing me, there was a point where I almost disappeared me, to the point, well, where there would have been no more me. Thrown it all away as easily as a food shopping list, tossed away and dismissed without second thinking, thoughtlessly discarding a life's worth of living. When I say living, my heart was just about beating. Always surrounded by those who had a plan, the idea of which is drummed into you time and time again within the educational system and peer groups, and those oh so dear, well-meaning friends. Well, let me share with you this. After a moment of clarity, I'm a 47-year-old man with a plan now before me. I'll not bore you or make you endure endless words. I guess that's irony. These ideas are becoming a solid reality. Life can be deceiving, a cluster of confusion, disillusion beyond belief, grief-stricken and choked, fist gripped, clenched teeth, somehow still breathing without actually living. But I will not fit inside a box, the shape and size of which is set out by this society. I will not just comply. I will no longer live to be just living to die. And as for that final box, I request wicker, not wood, and my body 6 foot deep in a cemetery, buried. I do not wish to be burned. And on my headstone, that final statement should read, here lays a poet who lived.
This is Billy Butler, The Right Track.
What's on your mind? What are you trying to tell me now? Are you feeling sad and blue? Because money's low and everything seems to go wrong. Well, my shoes got a hole in the bottom, but I can't stop now. I've been trying to reach my goal too long to give up on my journey now.
So that was Billy Butler with The Right Track. this brings us to the end of our first Art and Soul show of the new year and the new decade. If you've enjoyed today's show, please join us next month for another eclectic mix of music, discussion and entertainment. The music you hear in the background was made here at Basement 13 by Mike and Rob Woodward. And now all that remains for us is to wish you a very happy new year.